Hi, Gary. It's Uncle Extra Medium again. It must be Thursday night. Time for another episode of the Hour Before TNL.
Are you plain bored of woodworking? Get excited again with Fisheye's Make Your Own Sandpaper Kit. Fisheye's Sandpaper Kit comes with everything you see here. Just pick your paper, spread the glue, and shake on the sand. Voila! Beautiful handcrafted sandpaper. And if you act now, we'll include candy sprinkles absolutely free. What better way to say I love you than with a gift of sandpaper? Fisheye's Make Your Own Sandpaper Kit is just $19.99 wherever crappy gifts are sold.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Hour Before Thursday Night Live. This is episode 40 on May 26th, 2022. I got the date right this time, Jim. And as usual, I just like to explain our rules. We don't allow any politics, no religion, no racism. We demand kindness and respect for everybody on the panel and in the chat. No exceptions. Everybody has the right to free speech except here. My channel, my rules. Anyway, with that said, let's introduce my co-host, Mr. Jim.
I thought you said no exceptions, Gary.
Well, you got to do what you got to do.
Well, always one slips through the crack.
Yeah, well, so how's things with you there, Jim?
Doing very well. I've settled down. The wind seems to have subsided a little bit here in Ontario, and batten down the hatches and away we go.
Oh, very good. It's it's been a wild week. There we go. I think that's the one. We got a message from a friend of ours.
Friend of yours. I have no friends.
A friend of yours. And he sent a video message, so I'll toss that up right now.
All right.
Okay, let me just see if I can do this. Where is he? There he is. Oh, there he is.
He's still there.
Not that one. There we
There
go.
you Hi, Gary. Uncle Extra Medium here. And when I heard you were going to have that drag racing, drone flying, Idaho quadcopter and pilot Marcus Crawford, I just had to hit the subscribe button and the notification icon. I'm looking forward to hearing his stories.
There you go. And without further ado, here he is.
With an introduction like that, I mean, for God's sakes.
Yes, our friend Uncle Extra Medium just had to have his say. You know?
Nice.
Welcome, Marcus.
Thank you, Jim and Gary.
Oh, I tell you, you sure attract an audience. You know, I've got Novice Quads is here, and Rob Camarda from Aviano, and Jim's Droning is here, and John from Flying Flynn Media, and Jerry Bauer, and you're here. Going through the list. Wayne B, who we flew with, is here. Artco from Artco Drone Solutions. Who did I miss?
Backpack Jack. That's Jackie. She's from the south of Spain.
Okay, and I just gave her a wrench.
Yeah.
And Draymond Crawford, who's on the wall.
He's my cousin.
Recovery One drone, and yeah. So yeah, we got. Boy, you do draw an audience, no question about it.
I don't know if it's me.
I thought it was us, Gary, but
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm thinking it's you guys.
It's the guests.
No, it's great to have you, Marcus. Tell us about Idaho Quadcopters. What got you started in starting that channel?
Well, like let's see. YouTube started first, really. I started just throwing a few videos up on YouTube, and I had one of them that kind of hit, and then you kind of get the bug. And this is I bought a new lawnmower, and I'd been watching lawnmower videos, to try and find out which is a good one, which is a bad one. And the videos were so lousy. Nobody could hold a camera steady or anything. So I put a camera on a tripod, and I brought home a new lawnmower, and I thought, I can do an introduction. So I just did a short little introduction of this Honda lawnmower, and I think it's well over 300,000 views at this point. And it got it got me interested in YouTube, and then like most people, I ended up buying a toy drone. Right, always like I'm kind of a gearhead, so you're interested in stuff like that, and like a lot of guys, I thought bigger is better, so I bought this this toy drone thing, and it wasn't a GPS drone. It didn't have altitude hold or anything. I could barely get it in the air and barely keep it in a hover, and then I saw a video on YouTube of a GPS drone, and the light went off over my head, and I said, hey, I got to try this.
Oh yeah.
And the rest is history. Phantom 3 was my first. Oh yeah, there you go.
We all started there. Right?
We all started there.
Yeah.
Then a Phantom 3 standard, and it all took off from there. Yeah.
Yeah, been there, did that. Yep. Yeah. So you started out really as a review channel then, eh?
Not an anything channel, really. I just would throw something as I found something interesting to me. I'd put it up on YouTube, right? And then drones got interesting, and I started getting traction with drones, right? Started getting some subscribers, and everybody develops their own style, and I kind of developed my style of reviewing and flying and narrating as live as I fly, and trying to tell a little bit of a story when I do it. So
yeah,
that's how it all kind of came to be. A couple of drones that really, my channel really got traction when the Hubsan Zeno first came out. And I'm talking about the original Hubsan Zeno, it was kind of a troubled little drone, and I followed it through every step of as they'd come out with a new piece of firmware or whatever, and really started getting some subscribers and following on that. And yeah, so I mean, the rest is history.
It's funny because this little piece of junk, it was what's it called? I don't even remember what it's called. Sky Viper.
Ooh.
Sky Viper.
Sky Viper.
Sounds fast.
And the first time I flew it, it crashed. Right? It flew away and then just came down. And I fished look, there's still an SD card in it. Oh, keep that.
Hey, we better check that out. We better see what's on there.
I better see what's on there.
Oh, art.
But it landed. So I put Sky Viper V2450, whatever, first maiden flight crash. And that one took off.
Uh-huh.
And I think it was because a whole bunch of people went out and bought these things for $99.
Right.
I wanted to see what went wrong, right? And the picture was jello. There's no gimbal in the camera. You set the camera angle before you take off, and
yeah,
we'll see what happens. And people are commenting, "Oh, great images," and blah blah blah. This was like, what was this, 5 or 6 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And it got a lot of traction. Now, you know what really got more views on my channel than anything was Cuba. We did 3 resorts in Cuba, and I shot it all with my phone. You can't fly a drone in Cuba, but I took some tips from Kenny at Cardoso Media, about using parallax shots and stuff like that, nice smooth movement. And those things have legs. They're my number one views every month since, and that was 3 years ago. That was pre-pandemic, and I guess it's something where they go looking for that resort, to see if there's a review on the resort before they go, and it's got more legs than the drone stuff, that's for sure.
That's the thing, is you never know exactly what's going to hit. Ron Brown and I talk about this all the time. You can put a ton of work into a video flying a drone someplace, and you capture this and you capture the most cinematic thing you ever did, and you do some really amazing editing and so forth, and you'll put it up and it'll get 200 views. Then the next day you put a video up where we call them Ron and I call them talking head videos, where you're just talking about the Mini 3 or whatever the flavor of the week happens to be.
Yeah.
And it'll get 5,000 views in a day, and you go, you put little or no effort into it, and there it goes.
Mm-hmm. No, it's funny. I had one that I did when we were at our drone meetup, and I put it up. It was a police boat, and I chased the police boat. Didn't edit the thing at all. It was just the follow. But what I did was I added sound. I added an airplane. It was 2 different airplane tracks that I got off the YouTube studio. Two airplane tracks and some seagulls. And I added the sound to it and put it up, but I titled it Police Chase. Well, it took off.
Oh, of course.
I mean, double my normal amount of views, right? But also had the most dislikes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Somebody posted on Facebook, "This wasn't a police chase. This is bullshit." I guess they expected somebody to be, being chased by the police.
So I did something very similar, Gary. So I was at the drag strip on, they call it a grudge racing night. And the local police department has a full-on drag car, with a supercharger and a pro stock drag car.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to the guy, and he goes, and I just had my Corvettes. That was the 2017 Corvette lock stock. And he goes, "Hey, you want to race?" I said, "Well, hell yeah." I said, "I'll make a video out of it." So I did. So I titled the video, "I Got Chased by the Cops." And he literally let me get halfway down the track before he started, before he even left. And I mean, and he had full lights and siren on this race car. I mean, it was
No
great.
kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he went flying by me like I was standing still. And mind you, I was probably doing 110 at the time, and he goes flying by like nothing. And that video got a few hits as well.
Nice.
Now, speaking about drag racing, Marcus, I know you can't put the camera on the outside of the car, but for something like that, you can obviously have it inside. But when you're doing some qualifying or you're in your competition league or something of that nature, you still can't have a camera in the car?
The NHRA frowns on in-car cameras, and what they want them to be is permanently mounted. In other words, like if you just have something on a suction cup,
Yeah,
they're not going to allow that, no matter how. And we all know that they make some really solid mounts that you can rip them off the windshield if you wanted to, but they don't allow it. So it has to be permanently mounted. And I'll tell you, I had a dash cam in my 2017 that I had permanently mounted on the windshield, and they let that get through tech. I kind of had to argue with them a little bit, but I was also very careful about what I ever published with that thing, because they just don't. And I kind of get what they're talking about. You know, somebody doesn't want to see their car losing to you or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're sensitive about that.
Well, here's your participation ribbon. Get out.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. So, but at any rate, so what I do now that with my C8 is I've got one of those Insta360 Go-To cameras.
Yeah.
It is so small. I can put it up at the top of the windshield. Nobody ever sees it. and you know,
Yeah. Or you could magnetically mount it too, couldn't you?
Well, they have a temporary sticky mount, and you wouldn't believe that thing will hold. You just put it up on the windshield, and you can pull it right off when you're done. But I think it's because the camera is so light too.
Yeah.
But it'll hold. I mean, a full launch, and you're pulling some pretty serious G's when that thing launches. But it's never fallen off.
Wow.
Good stuff. Oh man.
I love that.
Excuse me. Little Lamalora has joined us. Andy Cortez is now in the chat, fresh off his live stream. Bob from Old Farts with Drones, he's up on the wall too.
Bob was supposed to get his Mini 3 today. I wonder if he got it.
Yeah, I saw a post on Facebook said that it was shipped. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Oh, and Scott from Jackrabbit FPV, the wonderful artist who created the poster that made me famous. The poster that goes in front of the wall that everybody that I see all week.
Yeah.
So yeah, no. You've got a live stream that you do with Ron Brown, right? The Drone Nation thing, and you have multiple guests. How do you manage to handle multiple people on at the same time?
Well, listen, I've got to give credit to Ron because he really does the control panel most of the time. We just recently got set up where I have the control panel as well, and I've managed a few shows, but by far and away, Ron is the brains behind that deal. I mean, it's not even close. I'm 5%, Ron is 95%. And but I can tell you this, we at least 3 or 4 days before the show, we start talking on the phone and talk about the agenda and the things that we want to talk about. And Ron puts together an agenda. He puts together a list and pretty much sticks to it. So, and I think one of the important things is, like you said, when you have multiple guests, you want to give them time to tell their story.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a mistake that you see on some live shows, is that everybody talks at once, and then whatever the guest is doesn't get to tell their story. But Ron does a really good job of managing that, so I'm going to give him really all that credit.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Because, yeah, you see some of them and they just go completely squirreling down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, off the deep end. That's right.
Um,
The other one, hey, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention every Sunday, and Jackie was in the chat a few minutes ago. I do a European show, Drone Seekers Live, and it's all UK and expats, British expats in southern Spain, and it's let's see, you guys are on Central Time, right? So it would be
we're on Eastern Time.
East Coast time. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So it would be at 3 p.m. every Sunday. Your time.
Okay. Yeah,
And that's I just love hanging out with that crew. And there's like 6 of us on that show. I mean, it's fun.
Yeah, sometimes it's difficult to moderate that kind of thing, right? We were doing that to start, and you get 3 or 4 people and everybody's talking over somebody else, and what we aim to do is to get people to know you a lot better, right? This is the show about our guests. We all know Jim. And everybody that tunes in knows the nonsense that I'm up to. But what would you give to as a tip for somebody who wanted to start live streaming?
Like me, for instance.
Actually, I'm not the best live streamer. Like I said, I mean, really, I kind of just follow in the footsteps of guys like Ron and my friends over in Drone Seekers. But again, I'm going to say that it's important to have that agenda and have all those topics set up before the show, and stick to it. Don't. It's okay to get off the rails, I think, because naturally you'll come up with a subject that's interesting sometimes, and you kind of explore that, but you can't get too far off of that. And the other thing that I see that happens on a lot of shows is, these are supposed to be drone shows. And of course, we're talking about drag racing, but they end up talking about everything but drones,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, yeah, and yeah, we're kind of an aerials tech kind of. We talk about. Well, we go off on tangents, like we did with Snake River. We were talking about. You did a trip last week, or that last week. You posted your Air 2S at Snake River.
Right.
And before the show, Jim was talking about Evel Knievel jumping the Snake River, and you can go off into those rabbit holes.
Right.
Yeah. But you also do some product reviews too, eh?
What happens is when your channel gets a certain size, they start. And in fact, that's one of the things I did today. They start sending you stuff, and I can also tell you that sometimes it gets out of hand. I got to where Banggood and Tom Top and some of those Chinese retailers were sending me a drone or 2 a month, and the thing is, they're just these really basic little. None of them are hardly worth. And the problem is you end up putting a lot of work into it.
Yeah,
because they all fly a little bit differently. So you have to educate yourself on the product, and then you obviously create the video, do the unboxing, do the flight, and all that. And then you can have 3 or 4 days in just putting out a product like that. Yeah. And then if you think about those retailers, it's pretty good for them. They send you a $200 drone that probably costs them $50, and you spend hours and hours putting together a review.
Yeah. And then you've got to download the app. So now your phone has 55 different apps on it. And,
that's a fact.
This little monster here, I fly this almost every day. And,
that looks like fun.
Yeah. It fits inside the controller,
Yeah.
And it comes with an app, but I don't use the app. I just launch it right off the floor and just use the controller.
Fly it around in the house.
Yeah, it's got an FPV camera in it, but you can't see it without the phone. And I don't really care. I just do it line of sight just to get stick time in, you know.
So that little guy does have has a camera in it. Wow.
Yeah, it's a 720p camera.
Wow, that's amazing. This is what I was testing out today. Is Freewell sent me this. It's a wide angle and anamorphic kit for the Mavic 3.
Oh boy.
And I have done the anamorphic lens before. I did that with the Air 2S. And basically what that does is it gives you that movie style cinema wide look.
Yeah.
But boy, you talk about a lot of work. So when you get done with the video, it's all squished.
Yeah.
And then when you put it in your editor, you have to de-squish it and there's
and then recenter it. And
yeah, it's a fair amount of work. But what I really focused on today, I went out to Lucky Peak Reservoir and I put the wide angle lens on there. So pretty cool kit that they came up with here.
Oh, nice. Wow.
And the folks at Freewell are they're really, really nice people. You know, they don't put any pressure on you to get anything done or whatever. They just send them to you and, hey, put out a video if you want.
Oh, that's cool. That's really good.
Yeah.
You know, I only started using filters when I got the Fly More with the Air 2S. My original Mavic Air didn't have filters and I never used them, you know. And well, you saw the footage in the intro. That was mostly shot with the original Mavic Air. And
great drone.
Oh, I love it. You know,
Yeah.
I flew it at our drone meetup there a couple weeks ago. And yeah, now it's the drone I put in the car just to take along with me, you know.
Yeah.
It's that Go 4 app that I really like.
Yes.
You know, there you can see across the bottom of the screen my mantra.
Fly app sucks.
I just hate the Fly app. We were at that meetup and I had no end of trouble. Jim saw me having the problems. I fly the drone, I land the drone, I change the battery, I take off. It won't go left or right. Oh, it's reset the
Yeah, you had that.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I get that flight out of the way. I go out, I take some shots, I land the drone, come now. Oh, geez, there's something I got to catch. I got to see if I can catch up with that freighter that's out in the lake. I go to take off. I have to do a tutorial.
Oh God.
Right? I got to do a tutorial. So I'm swiping through this and it wants me to do checklists and blah, 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 blah.
Oh, gee whiz.
And the damn thing's long gone by the time I get through the tutorial.
That would be frustrating.
Now, I only just got the Fly app to update properly when I had to buy a $960 iPad because it wouldn't work on my phone. iPhone XR, the thing's less than 2 years old, but it wouldn't.
And it wouldn't work on it?
No, it wouldn't do flight logs or any of that,
Wow.
So I had this thing and it showed that I had 12 flights, right? I put it on the iPad. I've got 106 flights.
Yeah.
But here in Canada, we are required to keep flight logs.
Right.
And I always just use the app. Right.
Right. Best way to do it.
Yeah. I mean, you don't even have to think about it. Right. But the Fly app wouldn't do it on my phone. And then for some reason, it caught them all up when I put them on the iPad.
Yeah.
Who knew? Like, what's up?
Yeah.
And what's up? Thomas Ariel's joined us and Drone Life RC and David Lorenzo, who's a moderator now. Yeah. So yeah, that's my thing with the Fly app. I just don't understand why DJI introduced a toy drone with an app for kids and then put it on the Air 2S and then the high-end Mavic 3.
Well, the Mavic 3, the thing that if anybody, there's a lot of things that people complain about on the Mavic 3 that I think are way off base. But the one thing that I think is really legit is the fact that they gave us that RCN1 controller. I mean, it's the same controller you get on the Mini, for God's sakes. Come on. I just bought the base kit and I spent $2,200 and I get that same remote. I mean, couldn't they at least put some telemetry on there or something, you know?
Yeah. So give me something, right? You know,
a zoom scroll or,
yeah. See, for me, going from the Mavic Air to the Air 2S was a big leap. You know, the 1-inch sensor,
right?
And it was everything I needed, and the drone flies great. It's the tutorial popping up, the no flight logs, all the. I flew the Mavic Air, and the interface is so much better. Everything's on a black background at the top. The old man can see it in the sunlight.
Oh, I get that. I totally agree with that.
And the little wee tiny icon that shows you what battery you got left. The other one,
yeah, you got it clear across the screen. Yeah,
great big gas gauge tells you how much time you got left in the air.
Yeah, no, that's a great point.
It's not much. There's not much time on the Mavic Air, the original one, but at least you know what you got.
Right. Yeah, as I recall, it didn't fly very long, right? You had a fairly short flight time with the original.
Yeah, I was getting 15, 18 minutes tops.
Yeah.
In on a calm day, you get some wind and away you go, but no, it was, for me, flying with the Go4 app is just a treat. It's like buying a Porsche and getting a Volkswagen dashboard.
There you go.
Out of a 66 Beetle.
Here's what I'm going to tell you, Gary, is I have adapted to the Fly app, and I mean, I get what you're saying, but it doesn't bother me like clearly as much as you do. I mean, I've got used to where everything's at now, and
well, and the RC Pro is as much as I paid for the drone.
Yeah, so you do have the RC Pro?
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't? Yeah. Well, let me tell you. Today, when I was flying today, I was out at the reservoir, and it was a hot enough day. However, I was in the shade and everything. This guy went went almost completely dark. I mean, I've got to come up with a solution, and clearly I can't go the whole summer with that iPhone going dark like that. So
yeah.
I think there's an RC Pro in my future. I don't know that I have a choice. Either that or like that Triple Tech.
Yeah, the Triple Tech might not be a bad way to go. I went with the iPad because everything I've got is Apple. I've got iPhone, Apple computer. I've got my old iPad wouldn't work with the Fly app. The one that I was flying with the Mavic Air wouldn't fly with the Air 2S.
God, that is interesting.
Because one was 16-bit and the other one was 32-bit or something like that. So you had to upgrade your iPad. So that was, now
$8.
Yeah. It's not a poor man's game. I'm a retired guy on a fixed income. You know what I mean?
I hear you. Me too.
I see Max from Max Air 420 is in the chat, and Thomas O'Sullivan from Thomas Aerials. Welcome. Good to see you. Everybody that's in the chat, make sure you go through. Everybody's got a blue wrench. You can click on the 3 little dots next to somebody's name and make sure you're subscribed. Sometimes you get dropped off, and that's not good. And if you get a chance, go back and find Wayne B, because he's only got like 30 subscribers, but he's starting to put out some really good content.
Good.
Yeah. So it's it's nice to see everybody in the chat, and nice to see everybody doing well. Now your current go-to drone is the Air 2S or the Mavic 3?
I would say, listen, the best drone that I have ever owned is that Mavic 3. Now, the best value dollar for dollar of any drone I've ever owned is that Air 2S.
Yeah.
And I said the same thing about the Air 2S until I got the Mavic 3. the Air 2S was the best drone that I'd ever owned. That Air 2S, dollar for dollar, it is just a phenomenal piece of technology. What you can do with that, and I love mini drones, but when you fly a mini drone and you fly a drone like the Air 2S, fly them back to back, it's stunning the difference in the handling. What you don't realize is how the power of that drone helps you in certain situations, and you can place it where you want to place it so much easier.
Yeah, I flew the Mini 2. I flew Jim's droning. I flew his Mini 2 at the meetup, and I was impressed. You know, it was a calm day,
Right?
But he said, "Do you want to fly it?" I said, "No, I'm fine." And then he couldn't get it away from me.
I love mini drones. I'm a huge fan of mini drones, and especially I'll tell you why I'll always have a bunch of mini drones is because I plan on making some trips up to Canada, and I want to be able to fly. Right?
Yeah. Now I'm going to let the dog in, but I'm going to come back and have you tell us about your trip to Canada. But wait,
Okay.
Jim, you entertain everybody.
Yeah.
So you're up to 15,000 subs now, Marcus. I notice.
Getting up there a ways, and everybody asks, what's the secret to getting subscribers? Let me tell you, it's posting videos. It's hard work. That's what it is. It's putting in the time, putting up the videos, and that's what'll get you subscribers. I always laugh when I hear all these people talk about all these little secrets of, how you put this in your introduction, or, you put this kind of a thumbnail or whatever, and you'll get a bunch of views and subs. You know what it is? It's making good videos, and it's posting them and putting up a lot of them. That's what it is.
Quality and consistency.
Yeah.
About all I can be consistent on is Thursday. We do this every Thursday, and other than that, it's catch as catch can. But like we were saying before the show or during the show, is I've got this list of it's a shot list. I mean, this is stuff that I've shot, and I've identified the times in all of these flights that I'd like to show, and little captions. Here's Beauchart flying his Phantom, chasing a boat. I've got that's lined up. Someday I'll get around to it.
So let me ask you this, Gary. One of the big things is how you organize all those files. I mean, that can be a problem, right?
Oh yeah.
So one of the first things I always try and do is when I get home, I download the files from the drone, from my GoPro, from my iPhone, because I always do a screen recording, and I put them all in a file folder with the date and then just kind of a little brief description of what it was I did. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
otherwise you just lose, you just end up with a bunch of stuff on your computer and you don't even know what's what.
Yeah. And then what I do is I take those files and I chop each flight up into the little bits that I want to show, the little 10-second clips.
There you go.
Nothing more than 10 seconds with a description of what it is. And then I have a file called trims with the same date on it. Right. So then I put those all in that file. Then I can bring those down and put them in DaVinci Resolve and sort them to tell a story. Right.
Right.
And then add captions and stuff. I don't do voiceover because, I don't have a voice, you have to have a voice for radio. Ray Kelly's here.
Yeah, Captain Ray's been in there for a little while. Yeah.
And Bill Legwork. He's still part of the Midnight Oil there.
Oh, man. Let me just make sure Legwork gets a wrench there. He's now a moderator. There you go. So he can go through and check and make sure he's subscribed to everybody in the chat, because there could be new people to him in the chat, right?
Absolutely.
But no, what I do, that's how I do it. Is I have the raw files, then I have the trims, and then usually a year later I'll go through and I'll take all the raw files and toss them.
Just delete them.
Just delete them.
Well, I have a little bit different style than that. I've got about I don't know, 4 different external drives hooked up to my computer that are probably 8 or 10 terabytes each.
Oh man.
I just go out and buy a new drive when I need room.
Yeah, I've got two 2 terabyte drives and they're almost full. So, and the computer's almost full. So, I'm teetering on, having my daughter who works at Staples bring another another. She doesn't pay rent. She'll pay me in storage space.
In external drives.
In external drives.
I'll tell you, one of the handiest things that I've just recently discovered is these little Samsung solid state drives.
Yep.
God, when you're traveling, just like, when I was on my little trip, I just was able to just download everything to this guy. And then I had it all ready to go for me when I got home.
Has it got an SD card reader? Like, how do you get it?
Well, I've got a laptop, so I do it via my laptop.
Yeah.
I plug that into the laptop and then.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I'm planning a trip in at the end of June. So we have one show that's preempted. Actually, we have two shows this summer that are preempted. 43. June 23rd, there's no show, and July 28th, there's no show. So, yeah. So,
I still get my regular pay.
Yeah, you get the same.
Okay.
Yeah, that's important.
That's right.
Jim gets 100% of the revenue from this show.
From this show, yeah.
And we don't allow super chats, and we're not monetized. So, way to go, Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah, you keep doing the job you're doing, and we're going to give you 200% of the revenue.
A raise.
Uncle Bill has joined us. Uncle Bill's Toys in Florida.
Yeah.
Now, you were at that drone meetup. That looked like a great time, eh?
Let me tell you, you talk about a riot, and Uncle Bill did a heck of a job. He was kind of one of the organizers behind the whole thing. And we had pizza at a bowling alley that he manages the night before. And yeah, it was nothing but fun.
That's good. And he live streamed most of it, so I felt like I was there.
Oh, good. Yeah. There was so much live streaming. There were so many damn drones in the air that it was you had to watch it.
Wow. We had a meetup here, and there was 4 participants, right? And we had to have air traffic control. I had to line up to you. We had one landing pad for 4 guys. So, you'd be in a holding pattern.
Waiting to land. Oh, that's funny.
Somebody else was taking off. But what we were doing, and it worked out quite well, is we would call out the altitude of our flight. So if I was at 100 meters, Jim's droning would be at 75 meters, and Beauchard would be at 50 meters, and Wayne would be at 150 meters, and we kept far enough away. So
further out, etc.
But I could imagine with all those guys down there, man, you must have had a heck of a time keeping track of where everybody was in the air, right?
Yeah. And the thing is that it was FPV drones and camera drones and everybody all in the air at the same time. So
yeah,
that was pretty nuts.
Only lost 2 drones, eh?
Yeah, the little my little Nano Plus went into the drink, and man, that was such a heartbreaker. I felt worse for Ron than I did losing the drone, and it had nothing to do with him. He just happened to have the controller in his hand when the thing decided to go for a swim, and he just felt terrible. And I said, Ron, you it was nothing you did. I mean, it just happened. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Everybody was kind of giving me a hard time. Well, I'd be more upset. Well, why let it ruin your weekend? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it happened. So what are you going to do?
Yeah. Yeah. And it wasn't the only drone you had. So,
Yeah, well, that's true too. Yeah. Yeah.
And, there's something about the fellowship that's in this community, right? Everybody looks out for everybody. Everybody, you go through this chat after, and it's all pretty kind stuff, people joking around. Bacarasho says that at next meetup, I need a dedicated crotch cam to get participation, right? But Bill had that camera set up on a tripod on the table, and people would just walk up, and it was just crotch shot after crotch shot,
Yeah.
But it was a fun time, and it was even if you couldn't be there, you felt like you were there, and good times with good friends.
Some of the best parts of the videos that I put together from that were not flying the drone, but just all the conversations that my microphone picked up.
Yeah,
while I was flying.
Meeting everybody.
Yeah. Well, that one you posted this week was just that way. You were flying, and you had the drone up, and you had all the pictures from the drone, but you could hear everybody talking you through it, right?
Yeah.
Or you telling people that you were coming back under the bridge, and
yeah. I was sure lucky to have a screen recording on that one, because that's the drone that went in the drink.
Oh,
it had the video on the SD card. It's at the bottom of the intercoastal waterway there someplace.
Yeah.
Captain Ray actually went diving for it. Captain Ray, the next weekend or weekend after, Ray Kelly, he went out there and tried to find it. And of course, is what it is. I mean,
well, there's a job for magnet fishing.
Well, some manatee probably carried it off.
It's manatee's lunch.
Yeah. Hey, that looks like an orange.
Well, Lawrence said in the chat that he had a drone like this and his dog ate it.
Ah, there you go.
Well, that could be a tasty little tidbit, right?
Yeah. We've seen an alligator eat a mini too before. So
yes. And it that wasn't good for the alligator.
Wasn't good for that gator. Yeah.
No, do you think he survived it?
I don't know. He probably still has a toothache, I'll bet.
Oh, I would imagine, because the battery exploded in his mouth, right?
Yeah. It was smoking pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah. And I don't think going underwater is going to help him.
Yeah, I agree.
Take it under a roll, eh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Actor Asha said Flipper is playing with my drone now. So
yeah. So anything from Autel on that lost drone? Like, you must have been able to send them footage or something.
Yeah. So here's what I did. I need to explain that whole story. So I bought a Nano Plus and had nothing but problems with it. So they actually got a hold of me and they said, listen, we're going to send you another drone. Well, the red one that I had already sent it back. I bought it from Autel Pilots in China, and I was sending it back to them for a refund. Well, in the meantime, they sent me this orange one, the one that ultimately ended up at the bottom of the waterway there. Well, then the red one got partway to China with DHL, and they said, no, there's too many batteries in this kit. We can't send it. $167 later. And I had to pay to get it sent back. And anyway, got it back. So I have the red one, the original red one, although it still has a few problems. But anyway, once this happened with the orange one, by the way, Autel had sent me that drone for nothing. So although my red one still doesn't work like it should. However, they did send me that drone. And when this happened, I got a hold of my contact there, a guy by the name of Tommy Gunn. That's his real name. He's in marketing for Autel. And I emailed him, and he says, well, send the flight records in. So I did. And they sent him to an engineer, and the engineer said, this is just off of my phone, off of the app. And he said, we can't really tell anything from that. He said, the flight record just ends. And he goes, I don't know. You'd have to have the files off of the drone. Well, obviously that's impossible.
Yeah.
And then when Stevie Bronx came out with his video where he had actually caught the drone, the video of it falling, I forwarded that to Autel, and it's just been crickets ever since. Haven't heard a word. So take that for what it's worth.
Yeah. That's tough when you lose one like that.
The sad thing about it is that orange one, the one that fell, man, it was working great.
Yeah. Well, you know, my thing about flying over water, it's the safest place to fly. There's no trees and there's no wires.
Yeah.
You
That's
know,
a fact.
wires are my nemesis. The only time I've ever crashed was into a wire, you know, and it was a wild flight. I was flying and I got obstacle avoidance, wasn't letting me out of this forest over top of a creek, and I got down right onto the creek, and I was coming up the creek, and then for some reason, you know, that downward sensor thing that you get on the Mavic Air,
Right.
it started dropping the thing, and I'm doing full stick up, and I finally get it to go over the bank, and I get it to go over the bank, and I thought, okay, well, I'm safe now. So I flew through a gazebo, right? You know, all the posts and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got through there. Yeah, and I get out into this open field, and I'm flying across, and there's a building up ahead, and I start to climb to clear the building, and hit the wires.
Oh God.
And I took it down. You know, after going through all this other stuff, I finally get out in the clear, and I let her rip, and boom, down she goes.
Down she goes.
Yeah, 2 props, and no, you know, put 2 new props on it, and scrape the grass stains off it, and it was good to go.
Good to go. Good.
You know, it was probably about 25 feet, you know, and you know, it worked. You know, it still flies.
Robust little drone.
Oh yeah, that was a beast. It was the Mavic Air was a beast, and you know, the thing was bulletproof. I'm sure. You know, I went through. You know, I had the battery thing. I've replaced all the batteries. I've got 2 new batteries for it. They weren't cheap, but you know,
Sure.
but you know, when they swell up, and I think I've still got a swollen one there. I send all my batteries back to Staples because I get free delivery to Staples because, you know, somebody's going there every day, and
So they have a disposal.
yeah, they recycle them or do whatever they do, you know, and I don't have to worry about, you know, it's setting the dump on fire or, you know, killing a seagull somewhere, you know.
Right.
You know, so, you know, that seems to work out, you know, but
I've heard, and I don't know if it's true, that you can make a lithium polymer battery safe by soaking it in salt water. Don't know if that's true or not. I've heard that.
yeah. I don't know what it does to the chemistry of it. Like, is there something in there that they're recycling? You know, that like we're hearing that they're able to recycle the stuff out of not automobile, but like the Tesla batteries, you know, the big
Yeah, which those are lithium batteries.
yeah. So they're getting the cobalt and the lithium and make a new battery out of it somehow. I don't know. You know, it's like melting down a Coke bottle, you know.
Yeah.
But no, that was now you're just back from your trip to Canada. How did that go?
Great. I'm telling you, that was more fun than a barrel full of monkeys.
Did you just call us a monkey?
I did. Oh, no, I'm the monkey.
It's a country full
I
of
was the
monkeys.
monkey.
I get it. Okay.
Yeah,
No
yeah,
politics now. You know, we're a country full of monkeys, but
I was the monkey driving the Corvette, and so I just thought, okay, I'm going to take a bunch of drones with me. Every place I see someplace that I want to put a drone in the air, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to take my time. Ultimately, what happened is I had some timeshare points that were expiring, so I used those points on a timeshare right on the flippin' inner harbor in Victoria, there on Vancouver Island. I mean, it was amazing.
nice.
It was just me in this beautiful timeshare. Had a hot tub out on the deck, and it was pretty darn cool. But anyway, I spent the first day just tooling around Victoria there, and then the next day went up the Malahat, the Trans-Canada, and stopped at what they call the Malahat Skywalk, which is really cool. I'm trying to remember the name of the strait that it overlooks. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but you go up this spiral, you walk to the top of it, and you can look out over everything. And of course, they have big signs that say no drones. which is understandable because you wouldn't want people buzzing around up there. Everybody's on top of this thing, and truthfully, I kind of get that.
Yeah.
But as soon as the problem was that day, and that really literally the whole time I was there was a lot of wind and rain, so it wasn't conducive to flying. But I did have a little break when I got back down to the bottom. I was in their parking lot, and I took off, and I flew out with the Mini 2. And one of the workers there came and said, "Hey, we don't allow drone flights on property." And she was really nice. People always want to give people a hard time. This woman was very, very nice, and she asked me very nicely. So I brought the drone back and landed it. And there was another pullout just down the road, and I thought, oh, that'd be perfect. Well, then wouldn't you know it? I mean, the skies just opened up and it started raining, so just couldn't get another flight in.
Yeah, Canadian weather, Yeah.
But then on the way back, I came back across, and I've got a stepdaughter and grandchildren in just outside of Seattle. Visited them. My little 5-year-old grandson, he is just a drone fanatic. So we went to the park, and I put the Mavic 3 way up in the air and just handed him the controller and let him fly it around. He was just he loved every minute of it. There was nothing. He couldn't get in any trouble. I had it limited, and so he could just fly it around. It was fun.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah. We're coming up to the hour, and you know what we haven't done, Jim?
The number.
We haven't done the number.
Stickers.
We like stickers. Yes, we do. I finally got an address out of Bill Renane. That was like pulling teeth to get him to send the address. So a number between 1 and 50 in the chat, and we'll send you out some stickers if you get the number.
Did you see Mudball thought he had it there? Look at that.
Yeah, you see, up until now, and did we announce that?
Yeah, we
gave it away. We were using the episode number as the number between 1 and 50.
Oh, now see, that makes sense.
Yeah, we had to.
I like that.
Yeah, so it's not 40.
Yeah,
it was easy to remember too.
Yeah, there was nothing to it.
Yeah. And we're not giving away the new secret. There's
look at Chuck Kovaction.
Yeah. That's something Mr. Pottyhead would say.
Yeah. And you see what we're doing here, Marcus, is we're using this to give us more interaction in the chat, you see, which affects the algorithm, right? So
there you go. That is smart.
Yeah,
that
so,
is smart.
it shows audience participation,
Pick me.
Yeah, we'll get 80 80 chat messages here.
Yeah.
And nobody's getting it.
Boy, there's a lot of numbers coming up there.
We got it.
Yeah.
And he already has stickers. Pick the
I
next one. Pick the next one with that number.
Okay.
That way we get even more participation.
Yeah, they don't know which one has it.
Yeah, we don't know. If anybody knows who won, scroll back and find out what number the previous winner had.
Bill Legworth, you're close there with 485,700.
Yeah.
Stepped away, no idea what's going on.
We're getting a lot of 44s.
They must have thought that was it.
If only they had a pair of scissors.
You know what? We're going to end up going into overtime here.
There
we go.
Yeah.
Mike B, a.k.a.
The pair of scissors gave it away for me, Jim.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
I'm glad somebody picked up on that one.
Oh, man. Okay, Mike B, a.k.a. the Drone Ranger, send me an email. My email address is in the About section on the channel, so you have to go to the channel page and go to the About section and prove that you're not a robot. So somebody said that they asked me to prove I wasn't a robot, so I cut myself. Yikes. So anyway, yeah, send me your mailing address, not your email address, and we'll send you the. Oh, that was just priceless. Yeah. So anyway, Marcus, thank you so much for coming on. Any final words for these fine people?
You know what? There's always a new drone coming out, so don't just waste your time just waiting for whatever the next thing is. Fly what you got and have fun. And this is the perfect time of year to be out flying before the weather gets too hot. Get out there and fly your drones and have fun.
There you go. Jim, anything?
Thanks, Marcus, for joining us, and continued success, and good luck in your drag race tomorrow.
Thank you.
And you know what? We set a record for continuous viewers today.
Woohoo!
Yeah. So anyway, with that, thank you so much, everybody, for showing up. You could have been anywhere, but you chose to come here and see Marcus and Jim. And we'll see you next Thursday on the hour before the hour.
Thanks,
before.
everybody.
Now I got to figure out how to run the outro. Stick around after if you like, Marcus. We usually have a little post
Cocktail and shrimp.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And make sure you watch the outro because you're in it.
Oh, nice. I'm watching.
We update the outro every week. How come it won't go there? Oh, because that's not the right one. Outro. There we go. You see, and this is my thing every week is trying to figure out how to do the outro. Stop.
And this is why he's always asking you how to run a live stream, Marcus.
God damn thing. Okay, hold on. Share screen. But you see, I can't get them all at the same time. There we go. Okay, here we go.
There it is.
Button by. Special thanks to everybody that stuck around to the end of the show of the hour before TNL. All 2,417 of you.